Because I did want to kick it off. Yes.
You did really kick it off. Yes, sir.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
You'll like that photo. We got a lot to talk about, have talked about a lot of stuff, and I want to say this, the difficult thing for the Florence City Council that I don't know that the whole community understands is you all work with 4 different budgets. It's a general fund budget, which is the taxpayer revenue. Then we have the solid waste budget that is paid for by solid waste ratepayers, whole separate fund, whole separate source of revenue. Maybe 5, I think it's 5, sorry. Then you have gas. The gas budget is paid by gas ratepayers. The water wastewater budget is paid for by water wastewater ratepayers, and electricity department is paid by electricity ratepayers. You serve wearing 5 different hats, you know, and it's when you make decisions, for example, on the city hall, you're spending general fund dollars generated from taxpayer dollars. The other 4 come from ratepayer dollars. Unfortunately, you're having to, you know, I mean, we sit in a council meeting, we may have, Tad may come and have a resolution come before you. Mary may come, have a resolution come before you. Ted may have one from gas and wastewater, so you have 2 hats. David Kuntz may come and do that. So all in the same meeting, all jumbled up together, we're getting requests and resolutions that actually come from 5 different pots of money. And sometimes it looks like, hey, if we're making a decision on City Hall, that's big dollars, and then we have to turn around and make a decision on electricity or water wastewater. It's like, good, now look at all this that we're coming from, but they're 5 separate entities. I mean, they're separate and distinct entities. You know, you go to a lot of, well, I don't know of another city council or a mayor, as far as that goes, in the state that manages 5 separate departments like we do. So I guess what I'm asking you today is forget everything you know about electricity, forget everything you know about City Hall and general fund, forget anything that you know about solid waste, and you're only wearing your manager, your city council members' water wastewater hat today. So we kind of have to separate all those others, and we just look at this like it's its own business with its own revenue, its own expenses, and we've got to make appropriate business decisions based on just this issue alone. And while the lines are blurry because you wear so many different hats, is we kind of have to separate them and consider them independently and uniquely. So as you hear this information today, I'm hoping that you kind of take some of the other stuff off and just wear one hat, where we're looking at a math issue that only affects water, wastewater. Now, my accountants are here. Did I say that right? Everybody else, is that?
That's correct.
So I'm just trying to help frame where we're coming from with that. So with that, if you'll put your water, wastewater business mind on, and you're making that decision, then they've got some information that's important for us to consider that is at the end of the day a simple math problem for water and wastewater. So how about that?
That's very accurate. So I called this meeting and got everyone invited because we have a very important decision we have to make regarding how we proceed from today moving forward. And unfortunately, it falls to you guys. You guys are step 1, you know, a multi-step process that we've got to go through. But I'm going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid right off the bat, and then I'm going to allow everyone else to voice their opinions and provide information that we all feel is critical for you guys to make an informed decision. We're asking for a rate increase for water. You know, and it's a pretty substantial increase from what we've been paying. And I'll allow the numbers experts to go into more depth with that. But before I pass it on to them, I would like for y'all to understand we've been this is not something that we started yesterday. This is not something we started 6 months ago. This is something that we've been looking at. I've been looking at it ever since I became the manager in October of 2023. And, you know, we've approached previous utility committees and council about it. But we're to the point now, it's critical that we have a rate increase. And I'll let them provide you guys with the numbers. and of course, we've got information and data to back up everything that we're going to talk about here. I'll be glad to answer any questions, but y'all just please understand and to expand on what Mayor Tyler said, we have to look at it from a water perspective, not a gas, not an electrical, not a general fund. We have to look at it from a wastewater perspective, because that's where the funds are going to come from. All of this that you're going to hear, I mean, there's multi reasons why we're asking for the rate increase, but one of the main driving factors, of course, is PFAS remediation. So with all that being said, I'm going to let y'all kind of segue. Will, you can segue into what you have to say.
That's an unfunded federal
That
mandate.
is
Coming, and it's unavoidable.
Yes, right now, we currently have to meet the 4 parts per trillion maximum contaminant level by 2029. Now, it's very well known that they're going to extend that deadline to 2031. But until we get a piece of paper, a letter from either Mr. Poulos with ADM or someone with the EPA stating that it's been extended to 2031, we still have to work under the 2029 mandate. And we have a plan in place that we can get all of that done. We can get all of that. We can meet the requirements. But of course, all of that takes money. And so that's the reason we're here today.
And just to clarify, just so that we're all on the same page, what we're currently going to speak to you about is not a PFAS rate increase to solve a PFAS problem.
Right.
This particular rate increase is to continue O&M, operations and maintenance, for the water and wastewater department. It will not solve our PFAS problem. It will not allow us to meet those regulations when those regulations are imposed. This information that we began to gather was kind of discovered based on some point of sale customers that we deal with. You may not be familiar with it, but the city of Florence sells water to West Lauderdale Water Authority, Chisholm Heights Water Authority, Green Hill Water and Fire Protection Authority, as well as we supplement East Lauderdale on an as-needed basis. 3 of those entities, West Lauderdale, Chisholm Heights, and Green Hill, all have purchase contracts with the City of Florence Water and Wastewater Department, and those contracts run for a period of 3 years. Those contracts will need to be renewed by the beginning of July 1 of 2026. So we'll be having a conversation about renewing those contracts. Those contracts that were signed and put into place in 2023 sold water to those entities at $2.04 per 1,000 gallons.
That's how much we're selling it to those
people.
Currently.
Now, our rate structure to our residential, urban commercial, rural residential, rural commercial customers is at a little bit higher rate, but it's not at much higher rate than that amount that I just told you about. Our audit has come back, our previous year audit has come back, and it currently costs us $3.56 per 1,000 to treat and distribute water.
You can do the
The
quick
mayor,
math.
the mayor said simple math earlier, so I'll let that sink in.
Selling it for $2.04 a 1,000 gallons. It cost us $3.56
A 1,000
per 1,000 to get it to them.
to treat it and then convey it to them.
So
Now
how
that-
much in a year are we making?
We're losing money.
We're not.
No, we're not.
Yeah, you do that math, we're
That's
losing
right.
$1.52, is that right?
Okay.
We lose, we
Okay.
give away $1.52 for every thousands of
So
gallons
$3.50 to treat it, and then they're paying a little over $2 for it.
and convey it to them.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
We're losing money.
So from an audit perspective, we operate off of a previous year's audit. We're not providing you with hypothetical numbers here. We're providing you with audited data that shows that this is what it cost us to treat and convey 1,000 gallons of water throughout our system. As I stated, we have a rate structure and it's called a descending or decreasing block rate structure. For a residential customer, for an urban commercial customer, what have you, they, based on their meter size, they're allowed this many gallons per water at this rate. As they begin to buy more water, or you know, demand goes up, they pay a little bit less per 1,000. On our current rate structure, some of our rates actually go down to $2.10, I think it was. $2.30. Yeah, currently we have, we currently have rate structures that take water rates based on consumption down to $2.30. Remembering that $3.56 a 1,000 is what it cost us to produce and convey it.
And to clarify, the 204 is, that's wholesale
That's
cost to water
wholesale.
authorities, not
Right.
to
Can I ask
residential.
this
Of
might be
course.
kind of off the wall, but how long has this been going on that we've been doing this?
Well, we have asked for some rate increases in the past.
How long?
But-
5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Well, under the current wholesale, the current wholesale number
Current
is 3
wholesale
years.
number's been 3
Okay.
years.
Or will be 3 years, in June or
Okay.
July, yes, so.
And just to clarify, 3 years ago, this man wasn't the manager of the water department, and I wasn't the operations assistant.
Sure.
So, yes, that contract has been in place for 3 years. I guess the better way for me to frame the response to that question, Councilmember King, is our last rate increase was 2023. Prior to that, the previous rate increase was 2017. Can anybody think of something that happened around the 2020 range that threw inflationary pressures
COVID.
into a whole nother realm? We didn't have a rate increase in 2020. We didn't have a rate increase in 2021. We didn't have a rate increase in 2022. So we are very far behind the curve for rate increases at the current moment. Yes, ma'am.
In 2023, what was the percent? How much did you go up?
3%.
3%.
3%.
It's gone
And
up 3%
So
since
over
2017.
the
And
9 years.
and
9 years,
looking-
we've gone up 3%.
Just to clarify, Council Member Simmons, that 3% increase in 2023 was not accurate. Is that a fair statement?
How much should it have been?
In 2023, probably,
3 times that.
no, I don't think 3 times would have done it. I'm gonna say in the 25 to 30% range.
We're decades in the making. I mean, this didn't happen overnight. and
Because
we won't
COVID
get
ramped
out
it
of
up, the
overnight.
price of stuff went up
Yes.
That was in
35%,
2020.
40%. I mean, it's continued there.
That was in 2023. And that's a number I shot you from the hip right there. But that's not where we find ourselves today. We find ourselves in a totally different realm from an increase that we need. Now, just to segue to something else, I wanted to provide this to you guys. If you'll give Councilmember Simmons and Councilmember King that. If you look at that sheet there, and I'll be happy to explain anything that you see on that sheet, but let's just take a look at the water rate section of that particular sheet. You'll notice Florence is listed first, and you'll notice subsequent water rates. These rates are listed before state utility tax. So, and everybody pretty much does it that way. Nobody publishes a rate and says, hey, this is what it cost you with state utility tax. They provide you with a base rate because the state utility tax is outside of our control. But if you look down that sheet, you see neighboring cities, Muscle Shoals, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, neighboring areas, and you see their base water rates. And then you look back up at Florence, and it's pretty simple math, again, to borrow what the mayor said. you can look at it and see how far behind that curve we are. As I stated, that 25–30% increase that may have been needed in 2023 no longer gets it done for us. I think that now would be a really good time for Heath and Mark to kind of touch on the budgets for the water wastewater department and what our revenues and our expenditures are projected to be and kind of where we land there.
Well, Heath had put together the budget for this year, and it was just a rough first stab at it, and increased expenses by 1.5%, which is probably low, and revenues that where we have them right now, and the budget projected to lose $1.9 million with what we have now.
For this year?
Yeah, well,
For
for
this
the
coming
upcoming
year.
year.
For the upcoming
fiscal
year,
year
we-
If
27.
we increase it 1.5%, we lose, we're still 2 million, 1.9 in the hole.
Yes.
That's before debt.
That'll be for fiscal year ending in 2027.
And just so that we're all understanding what was just stated, that's O&M cost on. That's what we have to do to survive.
Yeah, that's no, that doesn't even begin.
Doesn't begin PFAS.
PFAS.
It doesn't buy us a new truck. It doesn't get us a new piece of equipment.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay debt,
Doesn't
Right.
pay debt service.
which water has a lot of.
Yeah.
We're just, you know, trying to treat and
Maintain.
convey water. We're just trying to treat and convey water.
You can tell them how much debt water has without PFAS?
Current debt is 74,643,000 principal and interest. So a little bit over 74,600,000. That's principal and interest.
It's $74 million in debt, and a budget with a 1.5% increase, we still lose $2 million a year. So you asked, your first question is, how much do we make? We are broke.
Yeah.
You can't be more broke than water department is.
And there's a crazy accounting rule to where, let's say the state does a project and we have to relocate the water lines. That's recorded as income on our books according to GASB 34.
But yeah, you probably make nothing off of it.
Right, it's fake income, and it makes it look like you might have got a $3 million reimbursement that year, and it looked like you had a $3 million profit, but it was not from operating income, it was from special accounting rules.
Right. And it's,
And so it's hit that for, you know, we made our debt covenant every year and everything else that we're required to do because of false income.
So currently, our decreasing block rate schedule has multiple different tiers. Sandy can possibly speak to some of those better than I can, but imagine this. You're charged, based on your meter size, you're charged a flat rate for water. And again, based on that meter size, you're allowed 3,000 gallons of water for a 5/8 meter, 5,000 gallons of water for a full 3/4 meter, 10,000 gallons of water for a 1-inch meter, so on and so forth. And each of those tiered blocks have this allowance. Let's just say that you have that smallest meter size, which is the information that you see on your sheet from a comparison standpoint for every city that I polled. Let's just say that you have that smallest meter size and you're allowed 3,000 gallons and you go over and you use a total of 5,000 gallons. On our decreasing block schedule, there's a space that says, hey, if you go over 3,000, the next 2,000 gallons of water costs you this much per thousand. We started looking at our rate structure, and it's antiquated, and it's not something that he designed or I designed, or even the previous leadership of the water department designed. This rate structure has been in existence for the city of Florence for probably many, many decades. I'm gonna venture a guess to say 40 or 50 years. But it's our way to operate, and it's what we have to look at, and it's what we have to try to compute rate increases on. We have to say, okay, so we used a couple of different floors to get us to a percentage rate increase. And we feel that the lowest that we could sell any amount of water for per thousand would be $4. And we would have to adjust our rate schedule to that $4 floor. It causes some interesting percentages. You go up a little bit more on this class of customer, urban residential. You go up even more on some commercial classes, rural
Okay.
commercial, but then you don't go up as much on like yeah, like a residential rule. You don't go up as much on them. But what it does is using that floor, it kind of realigns everybody. And we can't really sell water for less than $4 a thousand to a non-wholesale customer ever again. We've got to get to that point. But we also think that we should really be higher than that. And if you look at this rate schedule, you'll notice that there's some misalignment between Florence inside the corporate limits, which is the first line item you see, Florence rural areas, and then Florence Killen residential. We would really like to kind of bring everybody closer to Killen from a base rate. Now that's going to change some percentages for us on every rate class, and we would obviously show that to you guys and say, okay, this is where we're at. But imagine that if every base residential customer in Florence received a minimum bill around that $24, $24.75 range, that would change some things for our commercial customers, rural and urban. And it would definitely change some things for residential customers, urban and rural. But
How much are people paying now?
people are paying $15.06 for a base rate on 3,000 gallons for that smallest meter size in the city of Florence. So back to that decreasing block. Like if I put this on a sheet for you, that's the easiest way for me to convey it to you. If I tell you about our rate schedule, I do this. You don't want me to hand you this packet, is what I'm telling you. You'd prefer to look at something where you can do the simple math, in my opinion, and say, okay, this is kind of where we're at. I'll be happy to provide you with a copy of this. Heath would do the same. But we want to keep in mind that $4 a thousand, we've got to have minimum. But that adjusts other rates extremely higher than that. Not outside the norm, but higher. If you look at some of those base rates on that sheet, the water rate sheet that I just provided you, just take, for instance, Muscle Shoals, your neighbor just across the river. Look at their base rate, $30.
They're 100% more than us, right?
They're
200% of what we're paying.
They're 200% of what we're charging, right, yeah.
When you hear those developers go, why can't y'all do what Muscle Shoals is doing? Like, it's easy for them over there. They're paying 200%
Right.
of a base rate of what we're paying.
You look at Sheffield Utilities, another neighbor just across the river. We're at $15.06 for a base charge. They're at $30.65. You look at Limestone County Water and Sewer, that's over around the Athens area. You're talking about $41 for that base rate versus $15.06. In short, we can't continue down this path. Is that a fair statement?
That's 100%. I'll just be blunt. If we don't have a rate increase, I don't know what length of time we're talking. Is it 12 months? Is it 18 months? We won't get to have this conversation because we're going to be put under a consent order. ADM's going to come in and take over the system, and if it costs $50 for a minimum, that's what ADM will raise it to.
They won't ask you.
They won't ask you. Now, they will allow you a period of time, usually 12 months, to try to work something out, get things in line, and make corrections moving forward. But I mean, our opportunities. I guess what I'm trying to say, our opportunities to get these rate increases in place and kind of right the ship, if you will, correct things moving forward. They're limited. I mean, Will and I have been down this road before. with previous administrations, and it was just, it was to no avail, and so what we're asking you guys to do is, it's critical for us. I'm not gonna sit here and paint a pretty picture for you, because it's not pretty. It's 100% critical for us to get these rate increases in place. I would like to, with mayor's approval and you guys' approval, we'd like for you to evaluate this, give us permission to take it to council. And my plan is to put this in effect June the 1st. And
That's with the $4 increase?
it'll be the 20, there's a, like Will said with our,
21, 28.
it'll go to the
Match
24.
Killen. We want to try to match what
We want to
Killen's
go to the
currently paying.
2475. Now, it will be a little bit of a difference with the way our block schedules work, but we would like to raise everyone to the 2475. Right around that mark.
Just to give you an example, Councilmember Simmons, so in Florence, in urban areas of Florence, you pay $5 currently, this is current now, you pay $5.02 for the first 3,000 gallons of water you use. You pay $4.41 for the next 4,000 gallons of water you use. You pay $4.09 for the next 10,000 gallons of water you use. You pay $3.88 for the next 13,000 gallons of water you use. You pay $3.61 for the next 20,000 gallons of water you use. You pay $3.34 for the next 50,000 gallons of water you use. And anything over 100,000 gallons of water, you pay $3.15 for. You see kind of how that decreasing block rate works?
The more you use, the cheaper it is.
The more you
basically.
use, the cheaper you get.
And the more money
But-
we lose.
But we quickly fall below that $4 floor. What our statement is we can't be below $4 ever, because we have no profit margin, we make no money. As I stated earlier, the $3.56 per thousand rate that I gave you guys, that's what it cost us to treat 1,000 gallons of water last year.
June 30th, 2025.
That
We're not
number
sure
will
what it
change.
cost us today,
Yeah.
because we don't have audited numbers. We can give you a hypothetical guess. We can give you pretty close to the center of the dartboard of what it cost. We don't have audited information to back it
That
up
was
with.
full year. That was the
We don't
last
have a full year.
Yeah.
That's the last full year's audit.
And you
We
know,
wanted to bring you audited information.
yeah, and you take into consideration everything that's taken place since the audited numbers. Chemical costs have went up. Cost of living adjustments have went up. I mean, there's fuel. I mean, we all know what gas and diesel are. I mean, so all of those things we have, because we're paying. I'm sure there's, surcharges and everything else we're having to pay on deliveries of everything that we take in. So all of those numbers have all of that has increased our cost to produce. And like I said, we could get relatively close, but without audited numbers, we just don't have that. We just don't have that proof. So, so what we're asking is to raise everyone that's paying 1506 pre-tax and the 2106 pre-tax. We're asking to raise those individuals up. We're asking to raise those customers up to at or around about the 2475. It may not be exactly at
There's
the
gonna
20
be some rounding
right.
that would.
Killen's been at
take
that
place.
level for how long? How many years? Was it 23?
Since 23, yes, sir.
That's
Since,
just,
our last.
that's where Danny Pettis talks about, and Killen, that's what they're at.
Yes.
And I mean, we're just trying to, countywide, I guess, we're trying to get as
Yes.
close to that one mark as we can.
That's
get.
correct.
That's exactly right. Without completely, we need help today. If we have to completely redo this rate structure that we have here, it's gonna take a considerable amount of time, correct, Sandy?
Correct.
I mean,
They got the same thing.
it's gonna take a very, very long
Yeah, they're
time.
gonna have-
And we're gonna get bogged down in the process. We're gonna put tons of man hours into it. Other duties are gonna be neglected. But if we can use our existing rate structure and say, okay, we're gonna get everybody residential as close to 2475 for a base bill as we can. We're gonna have to adjust some of these columns in the 13,000 50,000 range. We're gonna have to adjust some of them at a higher percentage, and this one's gonna adjust at a lower percentage. But we're gonna adjust everybody to get them pretty close to here. Now, on commercial, we're gonna be around the $34.17 mark for that base minimum beat. But again, we're talking about adjusting a lot of different rate classes and a lot of different descending block segments. So it's not gonna be, hey, we're going up 3%. Because 3% doesn't do anything for us.
The last time the city of Killen, was it what we're paying right now was 2004. In 20, I mean, have gone up, well, they went up pretty consistently until 2015. And so in 2015, they surpassed the $24 per thousand mark.
They had every increase we had except for the 17. And then they had the 23 as well when we did.
So yeah, I mean, they've been paying more than what we are paying right now for the last 22 years. And I'll say this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was angry when Tad and Will brought this up. I was afraid, what have we been doing? I mean, if this has been a problem, why have we not addressed this before now? And I think both of them have said, we have brought this to the attention of the previous administrations and no action was taken. Going back, and I don't know what Mike did.
And most likely even prior to us being in the positions we're in.
I can't speak to
We
that.
can only speak, I can only speak as, and I know you're the same way, but I can only speak as to what's happened since October 2023, But we're just, and y'all are gonna get tired of me saying this because I say this to the mayor every time I see him. He's so sick of hearing it. And we can sit here all evening and debate over it, and we can provide you with all the information. But if we don't have a rate increase, we're not gonna have to worry about it much longer. We're only gonna be able to come to you guys so many more times between now and whatever that point is. And I don't know what that point is. But at some point, I mean, we're already at a critical stage. We've got to do something.
You can search and find news articles. You can do a Google search and find water systems in Alabama where ADM has stepped in and taken over. It's not, to Tad's point earlier, it's not a snap of the fingers typically. They typically come to you and they say, hey, you're falling down on your financial obligations from an O&M perspective. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. We want you guys to do better. And then we come and we talk to you all about it. When ADM makes that decision that these individuals, and I lump us all collectively at this table together because we are the city of Florence. These individuals obviously can't come to terms on what their water rates need to be. We're gonna have to do it for them. They do it. They don't contact Councilmember Simmons and say, Council President Simmons, hey, we'd really like to talk to you about this. Mayor Tyler, we'd really like to talk to you about this. They don't do it. They just come in with an order from the governor and they take it over and you guys are removed from it.
What's the reason for that? Because you don't have enough.
Because you're
money to make-
insolvent. You don't have enough money to operate. That's why.
So if you raise this now, and then how soon would you have to come back and want to rate increase again?
Well,
We would like, that's the other thing that we need to get to. We would like to build in an
Escalator.
an annual increase. In most cases, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but that's usually 3 to 5%.
if you'll notice on your sheet, Councilmember Simmons, right over here on the far right column, the only published one that I found was Athens Utilities. You can find that information on their website. There were other cities that I spoke to that said, oh yeah, we increase rates annually. I didn't put that information on your sheet because I didn't want you to go out and do a Google search and not be able to verify something that I put on this sheet. Everything that you see on this sheet, you can verify with a Google search on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to take my word
Most
for
of
it.
it's posted on
I didn't, there are other water systems and other city utilities that have escalators. I didn't put those on there because I wanted you to have raw data that you could obtain on your own.
She said like CPI industrial.
This is an industry-specific CPI is what that consultant was saying. And this, I mean, the worrisome thing for all of us is, one, the debt that has accrued over this time, $74 million worth of debt. So take that aside, you still have PFAS that's coming in front of us that's on top of this. And again, we won't be able to get out of it overnight. I mean, we can't implement the increases right away. It's just nobody can afford it. We didn't get into the problem overnight. We can't get out of it overnight. But that just shows you we've still got, it will help with the debt. I mean, it obviously makes a difference, but we got turnaround on top of that. And we have a deadline of 2029 currently, 2031 hopefully.
Yes.
Where otherwise we start, we don't know what the penalty from EPA is going to be. We got to start dealing with PFAS coming out.
And we have a plan in place to meet all those deadlines, make sure that we're meeting the standards. But I look at this, and I think everyone at the table will agree, this is step one. Because you gotta, I'm gonna quote my grandmother, you gotta take care of your household before you can do anything outside of that. So we gotta take care of our current situation before we really begin to worry about PFAS. We've gotta get our current situation corrected. And so,
If we want to prepare for development that's coming because of Lockheed Martin or Hadrian or whatever else, we're not ready right now. We're at max capacity and losing money on it, and so we're
Correct.
unprepared to deal with. So when the developers they call us and they're mad at them or
Yes.
electricity, it's not because nobody is wanting to give them what they need. It's we don't have the funding.
yeah, we just simply don't have the funding to correct some of the issues that we have that would allow that development to take place, But this is a very positive step in that direction. It's not a fix-all solution, don't get us wrong, but like I said, I just look at this as step one of a multi-step process that we're gonna have to go through.
Sounds like we don't have a choice.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually made that statement in multiple occasions in the past to, previous administration. But it just kind of got kicked down the road, and, but I do agree with you 100%. We really don't have a choice. I can, if you would like, I can bug you about it every week for the next 6 months and we can reevaluate, and trust me, and this man will verify that.
I disagree with reevaluation.
Well,
I think the time for reevaluation has passed.
Well, it's come and gone, yeah. But
You've kind of been bugging me for the last 5 months about it.
Well, and I know Mayor Tyler's tired of me, and I know previous officials were tired of me because every time I see them, hey, we've got to have a rate increase. And I did that. It wouldn't have, and this, I want everybody to understand how critical it is, because if I tell you every time something, is going on and we need this, then I hope you understand after about and I know that people got tired of hearing me because I'm serious. I told previous officials 20, 30 times, hey, this has got to happen, but unfortunately it's just not taking place. So
I'm sorry that it's, we're having to do this, but
So what we're asking for, I guess, is utility committee's approval to take this before the council.
Adjusting our entire rate schedule to using whatever percentages we have to use to get that base minimum bill to around $24.75 for everybody, and then adjusting the other descending block classes that appropriate amount to get there.
And for the water authorities, we've met with them. We brought them all in,
Yes.
and they've been expecting this.
Yes, they asked the question, why we've not already.
Why have we not? It wasn't why are you doing it. Why?
Yeah.
One of them, I think, made the statement to you of how are you affording to do this?
Yes.
I think Will's answer was we're
We're
not
not.
affording it. We can't.
it's the
not-
public that it's gonna have
Of
a
course.
hard time
Sure.
understanding it because
Sure.
you know, you've got to understand the whole dynamic, and that's why other water departments get it, but
Yes, because
gonna
they're,
be hard.
because honestly, they're in the same boat we are.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say they're probably a little better off than we are because they've made adjustments in the last 10 years
Sure.
where we've only had the one adjustment in the last, I guess, roughly 10 years, 9 years, going on 10. And so, but you're right, they do understand because, you know, they're like Will and I, we live in that world. You know, that's what we do for a living in our profession, so.
So just to kind of, and I just want to kind of put this into perspective, one of our wholesale customers, West Lauderdale Water Authority, my parents live on that system. This notice came out in October or November of last year where they were going to a flat per 1,000-gallon fee of $9.90 per 1,000. We're selling them water at $2.04 per 1,000.
wow.
My parents' water bill for 4,000 gallons of water was $50.11 pre-tax. They paid it, they've got water. You know,
Did
so
they have to boil water at one point last year?
they had to boil water at one point last year because of West
Even
Lauderdale.
at that rate, yeah.
Some issues on their system that they know they need some upgrades, and we want to help them, and we want to make everything fair for all of our point of sale customers.
Sure.
We can't lose money in the process. And that's kind of what we're saying. But to be able to increase what we charge them on that contract that will have to be renewed in July, that we'll have to get you all's approval on, we've got to go up on these other rate classes first, because if not, West Lauderdale or any other water authority, I just use them for example because that's where I was raised, they're gonna say, well, I don't wanna be a wholesale customer anymore. I wanna be a commercial customer of the city of Florence, and I'll pay less than I do now. So the issue is we need to go up on all of our rate classes now so that when those contracts are up for renewal at the 1st of July, we can do that and we can treat our neighboring water authorities the way that we would want to be treated and offer them as low and economical of a price as possible. When we go up on them, they're going to turn around and go up on their people, I can assure you. And that's just the nature of the business.
What do you think?
It takes a minute to bring it all in. doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot to take in and a lot to digest, so, you know, I wish there was something else we could say, but I mean, this is just it. This, you know, if we don't do the rate increase, I don't know how much longer we want to be afloat. So that's what we're asking for, and all the explanation basically just comes down to, with you guys' approval, I'll get it on the next available agenda. I don't know if you see the deadline. I guess it's today.
Yeah, it'd probably
Be on the first May, the first meeting in May, because I think the cutoff was today for the next. Today is Wednesday, yes.
I mean, it's the equivalent of, if they were selling hamburgers, then it cost them, $2 to make a hamburger meal, and they're turning around and selling them for $1.75, I mean, less than that, and that's
Sure,
a bad example,
sure.
but you could put it in terms of it's costing you $3.56 to make a hamburger, and you're selling them for $2.04. If you look at it from a business perspective, and the more hamburgers people buy, the
more
worse
money
it
we
gets.
Yeah.
The worse it gets. I mean, imagine trying to run a business selling a hamburger. Your cost is $3.56 to make it and sell it to somebody, and when they ring the cash register up, it's $2.04. I don't know how we've gotten to this point. 3 years ago wasn't as bad. I don't think it cost $3.56 because it costs increase, and we have to prepare. We're going to go into a 3-year contract with the wholesalers
Yes,
again.
well, yes, yes.
That's
they
what
will.
our plan
We
was.
That's
kind
what
of
our
have to
plan is.
forecast what increases may be
Yes.
between now and 3 years from now, and we can't be, we can't make money in year 1 and 2 and then go back to losing money in year
Yeah.
3. I mean, we've got to,
And
they all know it.
They all tentatively, in the meeting that we had, they all tentatively agree and know that, all right, we're gonna start at this, this rate, and that rate will increase annually over the course of the 3-year contract, if need be. So, they know that we're gonna have that escalator built into the new contract. And like I said, those are it's July 1st or June?
Those are July
Yeah,
1st.
that's what I was thinking. I remember if it was in June or 1st of July, so. And we're gonna start working on that. I mean, we're already working on it, but we'll start getting those finalized. But like I said, we needed to kind of take this step in order that to me is step 2. This is step 1, and step 2 would be getting those contracts structured and in place. So,
You ready to send it to the council?
Oh, they definitely need to have time to process this as well. So they definitely need to hear all of this as well, so they can make an informed decision.
sure. So with your permission,
And my meaning is, I don't think at a council meeting, you need to be at the podium to explain
Yes.
how this is a lot to process for them to digest.
I agree.
In case they have an opportunity, they want to do some research.
Mhm.
So, but you said it won't go until, what, May?
Yeah, it
So they would have
yes.
next council meeting.
Yes.
Well,
can
we've
come
missed,
to it.
we've missed the deadline. I mean, we
Yes.
tried to give you all more time to process all the information. So today is the deadline, and it's not prepared yet for the next council meeting.
No,
About
no,
the
I don't
first
have-
time you could get that, the first, next available council meeting for you to have this ready is.
Be the
is-
first Tuesday
is
in
first
May.
in May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
first.
but we got another council meeting before they can.
Yes.
I mean, so they can ask.
Yes, I think
questions.
the next
Yeah.
council meeting is the 21st, if I'm not
You
mistaken.
want him to speak at like a work session?
He
or
can.
Really gave us till
Yeah.
noon today to get it in now.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I think it's noon.
Billy's giving us till noon today to get it into the next,
Yeah.
it's like noon the
And-
day
and-
after council meeting.
I'll
And please
okay it.
remember, we had this,
I'll
this
okay this
meeting
one.
this meeting was scheduled to where we could tentatively get it on the April 21st agenda, but because of some things that came up, we had to reschedule the meeting, which it's not a problem. That's the reason I was using the June 1st date, effective date,
Effective date.
because, like I said, we originally had it scheduled, I think the meeting was originally scheduled for last week or whatever it is.
How quickly could you get the numbers together, Billy?
I mean, we've got the spreadsheets built. I mean, it wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be a huge.
And then
I
if we
think
could
we-
put it on the council agenda, maybe the regular, and then not do immediate consideration to carry it over, whatever, but I think maybe getting it started, would that work for you? Or,
So
We
you
could-
just said you come to the work session, next
Okay.
council meeting, because you're not gonna do it until May. Then you have plenty of time, right?
Yes, I mean, if I'm allowed to, are you talking about getting on the work session for April 21st?
Yes.
Yes, if I'm allowed to get it on the work session for them, we can come and explain it to them.
Just for you to come and
But
explain to
no,
the full
just for the
council.
work
That's
session.
what I'm
Gotcha,
talking about.
gotcha, gotcha.
And then that way they can answer
The
questions.
numbers wouldn't be in Granicus because we're not gonna be able to upload that information in the meeting.
but you may be able to share some of what you shared, if you can put that in.
Yes, now we can give you a base, we'll be able to provide you all with a base cost estimate of where
Where
we're
we're
at.
gonna be.
Yeah,
We
where we're
just
gonna
want to
be.
get people prepared. We want to start the talk
Understood.
Mhm.
so that everybody understands and there's not all of a sudden, well, I didn't know about it. And,
Mhm.
you know,
Understood.
And then at work session, you'll have more than 5 minutes. We'll give you a longer window
Yes.
if we have to make that a little
So what
shorter.
I'll do
This is
then-
important.
Based on y'all's recommendation, is I'll put in a request, because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's really no way for me to list this in Granicus. So I'll just send an email request to be allotted an amount of time at the work session.
How much you need?
I mean, I
I'm
can
gonna give you what you need.
this is terrible.
I mean,
Oh, wait a minute, I changed my mind. Hold on.
I think,
Can you do it in 20 minutes?
I think I could present it. I think we can present it. I say I think we could do it in 15 to 20 minutes, and then.
Well, let's give you 30, because the council will have
And-
that,
and if
that
they've
way,
got- if
back
they've
and
got
forth. We'll give you 30
questions.
minutes.
Yeah.
And if you get finished sooner, so
Yes.
be it.
And then
I'm in
we'll
DC
take
at
the-
the next council meeting
Yeah,
at ACOG,
okay.
so I'll miss that, but he,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mark will be there with you.
Yes.
I'm going to DC with you.
And
So we'll give you
then,
30 minutes.
and then at the meeting, I'll also,
4
that
o'clock.
should give us time, April the 21st, that should give us time to get a spreadsheet put together, to get the proposed rates together.
Sure.
And then we can give that to all of you at that council meeting.
Yeah.
And then that'll give you a 2-week period to kind of look at it.
Right,
And then,
that works.
if everyone agrees, I'll go ahead and list it for the first meeting in May. I've not looked at that date, but that'll give you 2 weeks to kind of digest the information, if you will. and
Now,
look at
this
it.
water rate increase would only affect the residents in the city of Florence.
It would affect residents in the city of Florence, commercial and industrial businesses in the city of Florence.
Say that again.
Okay. It'll affect the residents in the city of Florence, the commercial and industrial businesses in the city of Florence. It will affect people rural outside the city of Florence where we provide residential water service for them. It
So
will,
tell me what that,
Except for killing.
Everybody but Killen.
Everybody
but Killen.
We're trying to get
Everyone-
everybody up to the
everybody
level
that we
Killen's
serve
been at.
water to but Killen.
so even like
They're already there.
Rogersville? No, we don't serve.
They've been there
We
for a
go
while.
to Center
Ultimately,
Star
it
to
does.
To Blue Water Creek.
Blue Water Creek.
Yes.
You know, I need.
Our customer, so this is the way I look at it. Our customer base, it would affect everyone, which is defined as the urban, that's everyone inside the city limits. It's gonna affect everyone that has a Florence mailing address that we service outside of the city limits.
Right.
Not West Lauderdale's customers,
What about
not
Green Hill?
Chisholm, not Green Hill.
Green
They're
Hill's
gonna,
a point of sale
Yes.
client of ours.
it'll only be, so we roughly have
Green Hill.
27,000 customers. It'll only affect the 27,000 customers minus the, how many is it killing, 4,700?
They're on city water.
Right.
Green Hill, Chisholm, West Lauderdale, East Lauderdale will be wholesale customers.
Yeah, they're wholesale customers.
They're wholesale customers of ours.
City water people,
Yeah.
outside of Killen.
So they would probably feel it too, because if we
They're gonna
go up
feel
on the
it.
wholesale
Yes.
rates, they're
Yes.
gonna charge it to
Yeah.
Green Hill customers.
Yes, it's going to be, it's pretty much gonna be a countywide, it'll be an impact countywide.
Right.
Minus
Killen.
Killen.
the small,
Minus Killen, minus Rogersville, minus anything that East Lauderdale serves.
well, and I mean, even if East Lauderdale buys from us at some point, which I mean, you
We're
can't
not there.
lump them
Right.
into that
Yeah.
category, but right now, but yeah.
The best way for me to explain it to you is the rate classes that we actually have. Inside the city limits, residents inside the city limits of Florence, commercial and industrial businesses inside the city limits of Florence, rural customers that we serve, rural residential and rural commercial and industrial customers that we serve. That's the best way for me.
Yeah.
Engineers don't sum
I
up
may
well.
want to see this in the county commission. Danny wasn't able to be here today.
Yes.
Did you hear me, Will?
Right.
Engineers don't summarize very well. They have
I
to
could-
spell it out. That's right.
But yes, that'll be fine. I'll get, Heath's gonna put us a spreadsheet together. I'll go ahead and send an email either today or first thing in the morning to have 30 minutes. I'll request 30 minutes. May not take that long, but we'll request 30 minutes at the next work session on
We'll get you
April.
at 4 o'clock.
Yes,
That way.
yes, April the 21st. And then at that point, we'll have the sheets available, ready to give to all of the council members. And then that'll give a 2-week window to kind of go over the information. And if they have any questions, of course, they can reach out. We'll be glad to explain any of it. All they've got to do is call or email, and then we can get ready for the first meeting in May. Whatever that is, I need to look at the date.
When I talk to, and I'm gonna give an example, friends of the guy in Muscle Shoals, and knowing what their rate is, he said, I don't, there's no way you guys are making it. It's an unreasonable rate, is his words, based on what some of these others are paying compared to what we are. I mean, Killen was last at 1506 in 2004. And that's how, it's 22 years ago they were paying what we are right now.
Well, and there's been multiple people, you know, when we were having all the meetings with some of the folks from East Lauderdale, Rogersville, water meetings that we were having, I mean, everybody said, how are y'all making it? You know, in your current rates,
The answer's
What
right.
have
about
another
St.
question.
Florine?
St. Florine would be affected.
that would be affected. They are part of our
They're rural
rural
Okay.
customer
rural
base.
customer base.
So I have a question.
Okay?
So how would you educate the public and let us, so this just bam on them like that?
What we would do
To
if,
give them some notice to prepare
yes,
that
so
this possibly is coming.
if we go to the work session April the 21st and you guys look at the information and then approve it, the May 5th, by the way, I just looked, is the first Tuesday in the month. And you guys approve it on May the 5th, we would start immediately after May the 5th, we'd post it on our Facebook page.
Send out mailers.
Send out mailers, whatever we felt necessary. There's multiple options we could look at to make sure that everybody is 100% informed that effective June 1, 2026.
I thought you said July 1st.
Now, July
That's our
1st will be the
wholesale
wholesale.
Wholesale, gotcha,
Yes.
okay.
June
Gotcha.
1st would be our customer base, July 1st would be the wholesale.
Gotcha.
So we would have about a 3-week period there to kind of notify everyone.
Sure.
And, you know, we'd get it on Facebook and all that.
What we should have been doing
I think it's
was
important.
was incremental increases all along.
Yes.
And since that hasn't happened, it's like, now we've got, I mean, we're at critical state.
We are. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. It's just, we're to the point it's critical. And this would not fix our problems, but it would definitely get us going in the right direction.
Sure.
A step in the right direction, I guess. So yes, that's not a problem. I'm gonna make myself a note to send the email.
The accountants are here, y'all, is there anything we've not said, or y'all are the numbers guys, I
Pull the
mean,
Band-Aid off.
We did, didn't we?
We did. I mean, I'm not sure, I wasn't in my role either, why, I mean, we were pretty consistent on rate increases every year. I could only look back to 2020, and you have like a 15, a 7, 5, and then 10. And it was just year after year, they were having them to keep up with the times. And then you had a 2-year gap, and then a 1-year gap, and then a 6-year gap. And now we're working on a 3-year gap again. It's just, we have not, while everything continues to go up, our rates did not
Yeah.
go up with it. And it's just gotten way behind. Like I said, it was shielded, you know, because we didn't get in trouble with our bonding company because we were meeting our debt covenant because of the,
Accounting rule.
accounting rules.
Well, it's time to run the city like a business.
We take like our enterprise funds.
the enterprise funds are different than that. That's those other
Yeah.
funds that generate revenue are different than the general fund to that end. Yeah.
So do y'all have any other questions for us that we could answer today? I mean, I know there's gonna be plenty of questions to come, but
Oh, yeah.
y'all have anything else that we could answer that would,
Probably will.
what's the way ease your
I mean, I
pain?
can't
It's
these
not-
questions come.
This is not the kind of
We'll
information
ask
you want to
everybody
get
to
from
bring
department heads, that's for
potatoes and
sure.
throw 'em at you.
I developed a pretty tough skin a long time ago, so if they want to throw tomatoes at me, I'm fine with that. That's not a problem. And look, that's part of it. I mean, you know, and we'll get phone calls. You know, things are gonna, you know, Sandy will get phone calls. We'll work through it. You know, we'll explain. But anybody, in my opinion, and there again, you know, common sense is a superpower. But anybody that has enough common sense can look at the numbers and the math and go,
As
this doesn't equal this. The math doesn't math. I don't know where I've heard that term before.
Math ain't
But-
math.
But the math is not math, and that's exactly
Yeah,
right.
it's
And so-
definitely not, because that was confusing at first, and I thought that can't be right.
Yeah, everything that I provided on that short spreadsheet right there, you or any of your constituents can find on a Google search.
Yes, and it's public information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, our rates are public information, just like those.
And we're still way below, I mean, if this goes into effect, we're still way below what
Oh,
most
yes,
Shoals
we're
is.
way
We're
below,
far
yes.
below, who was it?
Yeah.
It was it,
We
40.
got you got West Morgan, East Lawrence has a
Far
pretty high
below,
rate.
yeah.
You got Limestone County Water Authority that has a
Yeah.
pretty high rate. So, yeah, we're way below a lot of those places.
So, you know, and, you know,
If you look at it, the only one that we pass on this is Decatur.
and they
We're
were
still
I gathered
and
that
they-
information
and
from
they make
February of
and they
2026.
charge more on
yeah,
the.
so it's pretty
on-
recent.
on
I mean,
another
this
end,
this
yeah.
information is only a few months old, so
Yeah.
don't know that there's been any changes, but
Yeah, I did not look.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
right,
before our
they
meeting.
still make sure.
I gathered that information.
They use industrial to supplement.
All right.
All right.
Well, be prepared. Next
Yeah.
council meeting.
And feel free, anybody has any questions, comments, they can shoot me an email.
And I do ask that you do this at the work session,
Mhm.
because you're not only gonna be speaking to the council, you're gonna be speaking to everybody who's
Yes,
zooming in.
yes.
Break it down as dunny style as you can.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we're trying to
I'll
do.
make
Yeah.
myself a note.
So
not a
they can
problem.
try to understand and try to get it. So it don't
Yeah.
be way over their heads.
When I
That's
say
my
calls,
request.
that's they just want information.
Yeah.
They want
Yes.
it, they want information, they want it broke down easily.
And the main thing is the why.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, and, I mean, just to make it real clear is when we're selling water for $2.04 a thousand and it's costing us $3.56, to me is that's what,
The math
on his
don't math.
face, that's as obvious as it can get, it's math. ain't
It is,
math.
I get
But
it, but
it is-
everybody,
you're right. That's
everybody
right. Sure.
understand and process things at a different
right.
level.
And I'll
learning level, so.
I'll explain why it cost us $3.56 per thousand to produce water. You know, we have all the different things that go into that, into those 1,000 gallons that we're selling. So yeah, that's not a problem. We'll make all that. And like I said, please feel free. I mean, if y'all have questions between now and April 21st, don't
You
hesitate.
know I'll call.
Yeah, call, text, email, whatever. I tell everybody, I'm used to being up at 2:30 in the morning. If you think of something at 2:30 in the morning, call me or text me. I'll go right back to sleep when we get her done with our
That's me,
conversation.
that's me shooting them emails at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So I was an operator for many years, so I was used to working all those weird hours and nights. So that's not a problem.
And that's
so.
what I've told them in the meetings, advocating for the customer, because if you do this huge increase, one time, it hurts them more than doing these smaller ones. So if they can get back to doing just those small incremental increases, that's a lot easier than hitting somebody pretty
Yes.
hard.
And we agree with everything that Sandy said, but the unfortunate reality of the situation is a
This
small
will be a little
increase,
bit more
a small
to begin
increase,
with.
a small increase won't get us there.
You get that initial one out of the way, and then
Yes.
then following that,
Yeah.
you know, if you raise somebody's water rate $9, it's going to affect them. But if you raise it $1.60, and I'm using those numbers are hypothetical, but you're right, a small incremental raise hurts a whole lot less. Than,
Sure.
but we've got to, I think
Those
you said it
escalators
earlier,
help.
we've got to rip that Band-Aid off initially, and then we can slowly work our way up from there. So
Thank you, Ted.
I appreciate y'all
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank y'all.
Be
Thank
Thank you.
you guys.
Y'all both, we just